everyone, fresh out the shower here, and a year ago, when you see this, I uploaded a video where I listened to and reviewed every Grammy Award-winning album of the year. It took about half a year to make, and I'm personally really proud of it.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
And I thought to myself, well, since I already talked about all of the winners and nominees in the past, might as well continue talking about them in the future. So that is what we're here to do today. As of recording, it's November 8th, 2024. I'm going to react to the Album of the Year nominations for the 2025 Grammys. And later I'm going to review the nominees individually and then ultimately react to the winner live. Well, not like live, because like you're gonna see the video after the fact, but I'm gonna watch the Grammys live. Who am I expecting to be on here? I'm expecting Billie. I'm expecting Charlie. I'm expecting Beyonce. She's not gonna win, but she's gonna be nominated. You know who is going to win though? Taylor Swift. Didn't matter the quality of the Tortured Poets department when she announced her album at last year's Grammys. Everyone knew that she was going to win it again this year. Everyone, including my dumbass. Oh, but I sure can't wait for Taylor to win this award again next year for the Tortured Poets department. The Grammys, everyone. And you know what? If they throw Chappell Roan in there, that would be pretty cool too.
This year's nominees for Album of the Year are
Ninja Sex Party.
New Blue Sun.
Really?
Andre 3000.
New Blue Sun.
Cowboy Carter. Beyonce.
Beyonce. There we go.
Short and Sweet.
Short
Sabrina
and Sweet.
Carpenter.
Sabrina Carpenter.
BRAT. Charlie
There we
XCX.
go. BRAT.
Djesse. Volume 4.
You gotta be kidding me.
Collier.
Jacob Collier.
Hit Me Hard and Soft. Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish. Okay.
Chappell Roan. The Rise
There we
and
go.
Fall
Why
of a
is the
Midwest
name like
Princess.
that?
The Tortured Poets department.
Taylor Swift. Yep. Anyone else? Nope.
Huge
Okay.
congrat-
Everyone I expected to be on here is on here, so thank goodness I'm a little smart at least. I cannot say I expected the Andre 3000 album to be on here. That's actually kind of wild. If memory serves me right, I can't really remember another Album of the Year nominee that was an ambient album or like an ambient jazz album. And honestly, this one probably wouldn't even have shown up if it wasn't attached to Andre 3000. Listen, okay, Jacob Collier. Okay, dude, the Jacob Collier is immensely talented. He makes some fun internet videos, and overall he just seems like a nice guy. I don't get why this one's here. The only albums here that I haven't heard in full are the Charlie, the Jacob, and the Chappell albums. But I'm going to be reviewing all of the nominees individually, starting now.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Brat. Charlie XCX has had hits before and even hit albums, but nothing quite to the scale of this. And I think it very much deserves it. This album is jam-packed with electropop and hyperpop club bangers. Talk Talk, banger. Apple, banger. Von Dutch, mega banger. Lots of energy. Really feels like a euphoric rush in 3 minutes or less, which is one thing I really like about this record. I've heard a few dance and club records that feel pretty drawn out, but these songs never feel like they overstay their welcome. The beats are wild and weird, but super fun and danceable like club classics, and everything is romantic. Some songs have nonsense lyrics, and others are really personal, like my favorite track, Sympathy is a Knife. The more personal tracks vary on their energy level, but there's one softer one that I want to point out called So I. Beautiful track that is also a tribute to the late great producer and songwriter Sophie. Love the progression of this record. Nothing feels out of place. I especially love that the opener is 360 and the closer is 365, which the latter does kind of feel like a reprise of the former. And of course, we have to get some songs specifically for the girlies, like Mean Girls and Girls So Confusing, which if the girlies get tracks like these, where do I send my girly application? This is probably my favorite album of 2024. It's definitely my favorite of the nominees. And I'm surprised I didn't get to it before December. Forever saddened that I missed out on BRAT Summer. And that's what I gotta say. B2B. Sorry, that's another really cool song from the album. I just had to let that one out before I end this review by saying I strongly recommend it. Guys, hear me out. I have this revolutionary opinion. The Jacob Collier album is not that great. Wow, really? No way. I had no idea. That's crazy. This is Jacob's 4th entry in his Djesse album series, which, full disclosure, I have not listened to the other 3. But if they are anything like this one, then I think I would like to keep it that way. This is definitely the worst of the 8 nominees. And truly, it all kind of boils down to one major factor. Jacob kind of tries too hard. A lot of tracks, such like She Put Sunshine and Witness Me, feel like Jacob saying, it's gonna be quirky and cool and wah! This is especially present in the 2 Box of Star tracks, where it feels like he tries to put in as many genres as he can back to back. And sometimes he just tags random shit onto these songs, like the intro to A Rock Somewhere, which feels like what an American movie would use in the background as it enters an Arabic country. Or how about the opener 100,000 Voices, which starts out with like a full minute of nonsense. Then we get into the actual track, which is inoffensive enough, but then we get an out-of-nowhere metalcore outro. Like, excuse me, princess. Then we have moments like his cover of Simon & Garfunkel's Bridge Over Troubled Water, featuring John Legend, Tori Kelly, and Yebba, which completely misses the point of the original. Again, trying too much, but this time they seem like they just want to show off their singing abilities and not necessarily make an actually interesting successor to the original, which does not sit well with me, especially with a song I love like Bridge Over Troubled Water. But I can say that I can tolerate some songs. Mostly. Mi Corazon in particular, I heard when it first came out, and I used to say I wholeheartedly liked it. Now I can still deal with it, but I don't know what crack I was on before. A better track with Brandi Carlile called Little Blue is definitely my favorite track. And my least favorite is the track Well. I heard that song and I literally did the Dwayne Johnson eyebrow meme. That one I can't tolerate at all. Overall, I respect Jacob's ambition and musicianship, but this album is just a structural mess for me. I don't recommend it.
This seems like it's in the category of girly pop, but we may be about to learn that we are wrong.
I heard about this woman once at a party in May. It wasn't even like someone played one of her songs. Someone I knew just said, hey, I really like this artist. You should check them out. Yada, yada, yada. And I was like, all right, I'll look them up, see what's going on. I have not stopped hearing about her since. But eventually I did take a listen to her album. I actually listened to it while I was on a boat. Have I mentioned recently that I was on a boat? I listened to it and I liked it. But I don't have strong feelings about it. Like, I wasn't floored by what I heard, but I don't need to be floored by it to still like it, and I do like it. It's a fun, vibrant 2020s pop record with some synthy slappers and some somber sad songs. I enjoy the campy attitude Chapel brings. I enjoy her storytelling, especially on tracks like Casual and Super Graphic Ultra Modern Girl. There are some tracks that read more like general pop tunes to me. My Kink is Karma in particular felt kind of Taylor Swift coded. But in most cases, this album has moments that are very personality filled, and those are the ones that I prefer. Like the opener Phenomenon, like the aforementioned Super Graphic Ultra Modern Girl. I feel like some of these titles are speaking for themselves at this point. I also said moments and not tracks specifically because there are tracks like Naked in Manhattan where I thought I understood what the song was going to be like, and then the chorus came in. My favorite track is a toss-up right now between Red Wine Supernova and Hot to Go, the former being a fun, raunchy dance pop tune, and the latter being the Queer Cheer super hit of the record. My least favorite track is California. Really just didn't feel that one, honestly. I'd also say the album is kind of front-loaded for me. Like, I prefer to listen to any of the songs from the first half more than the second half. But I do like that the whole way through the album, it is pretty equal in terms of its banger to ballad ratio. So yeah, that's what I think of The Chapel. I recommend it. It's fun. Okay, next.
But anyways, I'd rather stay out of this.
But the sun is blue!
And I'm green!
Hi guys, I thought it would be very funny to do the review for the Andre album in ASMR, or as my friend Luke would call it, ASMMAAR. He definitely is one of the men of all time. This is the debut solo album from one half of the legendary rap duo Outkast. Though to everyone's surprise, this is not actually a rap album. In fact, what we got was 88 minutes of spiritual ambient jazz with 3 Stacks himself actually playing the flute. Now, being completely transparent, I don't have much to say about this one, mostly because I'm not great at talking about ambient albums. I would say though that this album does have a really cool sound palette. We get a few ventures that feel kind of spacious, like the track Ants to You, Gods to Who. By the way, that is the shortest title to any of the songs. We get moments that are a bit more crowding, like on the track Bipolar Disorder's daughter wears a 3000 trademark button down embroidered. I told you that was the shortest title. And then there's this one track that feels like I'm entering a panther's domain. And I use that phrasing specifically because the title of the track is That Night in Hawaii When I Turned Into a Panther and started making these low register burn tones that I couldn't control. ... Shit was wild. That might be the longest title, I don't know. One thing I can't say that I don't really like about this album is the length. Again, it is 88 minutes, but that's only among 8 tracks. Just going in order, the first song is 12 minutes, the second song is 14, the third is 10, with the last track titled Dreams Once Buried Beneath the Dungeon Floor Slowly Sprout into Undying Gardens, being 17 minutes long. Again, the album sounds cool as an ambient album, but like, I don't want to listen to all of that all the way through. For me, I would say that I slightly recommend this album, although a better test for you on whether or not you would like this would probably be just checking out the first track titled I Swear I Really Wanted to Make a Rap Album, but this is literally The Way the Wind Blew Me. And just, if you like that, then maybe check out the rest. Or you could check out the shortest track, which is 4 minutes long and called 93 Till Infinity and Beyonce. Hey, speaking of Beyonce.
What's so great about dumb old Texas?
What did you say?
Here she is. It's Queen Bee. Beyonce's second entry in her series of albums she conjured up in quarantine is not the album that most expected, and yet this surprise country record still feels so uniquely Beyonce, while also giving us a semi-new sound for her. We got some lighthearted, fun guitar tracks like Bodyguard and Riverdance. The single Texas Hold'em even feels like a square dance tune. We got some country trap tunes in the tracks Spaghetti and Tyrant, which both have little introductions from country legends Linda Martell and Dolly Parton. A lot of the collaborators on this record are amazing, from Shaboozey on several tracks to Miley Cyrus on the unexpectedly emotional Two Most Wanted to even Post Malone on Levi's Jeans. And while that one does kind of feel like a commercial, at least Post isn't doing that dumbass shaky voice that he does. There are some anthemic tracks with a ton of grandiosity the enriched lyrics about Beyonce's experiences and her family, such as the opener American Requiem and 16 Carriages. And while we're still talking grandiosity, the track Daughter has a section where she sings an Italian opera song. She even finds a way to seamlessly fit a few covers in here, while also still making them her own. We have her cover of the Beatles' Blackbird, which is already a song about black civil rights struggles and is now being sung by several black female country singers. And also her cover of Dolly Parton's Jolene, which has a few lyrical differences, and again, these fit real nicely into the flow of this album. Just like Renaissance, Cowboy Carter has a great flow to it, and the transitions between some of the tracks make me want to kiss the producers. However, speaking of Renaissance, a small thing I want to add. I have said in the past that I think Beyonce has gotten better with every subsequent solo album release. However, unfortunately, I'd say that trend does end with this one. Not to say this is a bad album by any sense. I strongly recommend this one, in fact. But I do think this is a small step down from Renaissance. That step being, I think this album is too long. There are a lot of tracks here, and again, the vast majority are fantastic, but I don't think we really needed all 78 minutes of it. This especially goes for the tracks that are like around a minute long, like My Rose and Flamenco, which are cool, but I just don't see the point in including them. My least favorite track is one of these called Oh Louisiana, because not only is it pretty pointless being just a 52-second interpolation of a Chuck Berry song, but it also interrupts my favorite track, Yaya, which let me talk about that one now. Not only is Yaya a super energized and infectious roots rock song, not only does it have great lyrics about her family history and inequalities in America, but on top of all of that, Yaya is the name of one of my parents' dogs. Here is a picture of her, and here is a video of her. Yaya, I gotta do this video. I 100% acknowledge that I am 100% biased. She is good girl. This is great album. I love it so. I'm gonna move on.
I understand why people are excited when they see a little person. I totally get it, because when I'm walking around and I see another little person, I get excited too.
Oh, okay. You say you're a Sabrina Carpenter fan? Really? Well, let me ask you this. Were you there in 2014 for the world premiere of Girl Meets World on Disney Channel? Oh, what's that? Oh, you weren't? Well, I was. Beat that. Liberal. Like Charlie, Sabrina has had success before, but not to this extent. And now with this album, she can finally tell the whole world how short and horny she is. And if you haven't heard this album yet, that's really what it is. It's called Short and Sweet, but it really should be called Short and Horny. I mean, when you have songs titled Bed Chem, that's pretty self-explanatory to me. And also Juno, which could be self-explanatory if you know a certain 2007 movie. And if you don't know either, have some fun and look up Juno positions. In terms of the sounds, this is definitely commercial, but in most times it's still attention grabbing to me. Coincidence is a cute country campfire cut. Slim Pickings is this little folky cutie. And the hit of 2024, Espresso, is a dancey disco track that was so big it led to an actual Sabrina Espresso from Dunkin', following in the footsteps of the Ice Spice Heart Attack coffee. But there are some tracks like Good Graces that even on first listen felt like I was watching an actual commercial. But then there are also other moments like the key change in the second verse of Please 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 that I full on didn't anticipate. There are also a few slower tracks like Dumb and Poetic and the closer Don't Smile. They're fine. I'm definitely not saying she can't write slow songs, but just these ones in particular didn't gravitate towards me. The former of which is probably my least favorite track. I go back and forth on whether Espresso or the opener Taste is my favorite track. Today I'm gonna say Taste. It's a fun, unexpected pop rock song with some tongue-in-cheek lyrics. Sometimes literally. And that's one more thing I want to say. Mostly lyrically, but also kind of musically, you can't say this album doesn't fit Sabrina's personality. This album's witty, it's fun, it's poppy. It's a recommend from me.
Well, it's time for your first challenge. I want you to try to hit me. But here's
Hit me hard and soft. Hit me very hard, not soft at all, the definition of false advertising. This album gets me into my feels for reasons that the internet does not need to hear, but there are reasons why it's hard for me to talk about this album. So I'm gonna do what I don't normally do and just talk about the tracks one by one. The opener, Skinny, is a very vulnerable first track about her self-image, her body, and her age. When I heard the line, "People say I look happy just because I got skinny, but the old me is still me and maybe the real me, and I think she's pretty," I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'm gonna cry for 43 minutes. There's a good transition into Lunch, which is this sexy synth rock song about Billie wanting to eat a girl for lunch. God, that Billie Eilish, she's just so relatable. Chihiro is a very cool bit of electro R&B with some fun vocalizations. The biggest hit of the record, Birds of a Feather, is great. Feels very easy to connect to emotionally in the music and the lyrics. Love the intimacy of Wildflower. I like the storytelling too. The Greatest has a fantastic emotional buildup alongside quiet, plucking, building to these big drums and vocals. Got some happier than ever vibes on this one. L'amour de ma vie. L'amour de ma vie. Am I saying that right?
L'amour de ma vie.
That. This track almost made me cry, which it really shouldn't, but it did. Possibly part of it is the last track carrying over into this one. The last 2 minutes of this song is the hidden track Over Now, which is this weird synthy detour that admittedly I had to listen to more than once to actually like. The Diner is an unhinged banger that feels like some of her older music. Then the last two tracks, Bittersweet and the closer Blue, are both multi-layered and beautiful with equally amazing production from Phineas. He's great throughout this whole album, as he usually is. I don't really care to pick a favorite or least favorite from this. This is my sad girl album, and I enjoy it that way. I recommend it.
My new motto for mental health: real eyes, realize, realize. Sit with that one for a minute.
Taylor Swift also won last year's Album of the Year with her 2022 record Midnights. Chick chicky boom, chick chicky boom! Which makes it make more sense why the Tortured Poets Department was also nominated, considering that it is Midnights, but like a bit sadder and a lot longer. Taylor is usually good at making an album sound like its own thing. Like, you can't tell me that Evermore sounds like Folklore or that Red sounds like Speak Now. But for this new album, imagine, if you will, a dial. The dial is turned all the way to the right, which means it's just Midnights. And all the way to the left is a completely new sound. Taylor on this record just kind of went and moved it slightly. The title track, My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys, The Alchemy. Not every song is like a one-to-one with Midnights, but some moments feel more like Midnights leftovers than others. To me, at least. And not only do they feel like the previous album, they feel like each other a lot. Of course, not every song has to be entirely different from one another, but sometimes the tracks feel so samey that I start to tune out some of them, because partway through the song, I just already know what I'm gonna get. And I don't know about you, but that isn't the kind of album that I want to listen to for an hour. Much less two, but I'm not even gonna get into that. Not to say that the songs are all super bad though. The opener, Fortnite, is a little underwhelming as an opener, but it's still pretty cool. Down Bad is decent too, and my favorite track is definitely But Daddy I Love Him. However, I'd be lying if I said there weren't songs that just straight up turned me off. Like the tracks I Could Do It With a Broken Heart and Florida, whose choruses do not fit the rest of the tunes to me. Songs like So Long London and Guilty as Sin are pretty in one ear and out the other for me. And the closer, Clara Bow, has a bit of self-congratulating at the very end of the record too. Super cool. Speaking of which, Some of these lyrics, man. We declare Charlie Puth should be a bigger artist. And all my friends smell like weed or little babies. Did we really need another weird baby line after the one in Anti-Hero? And might as well just put most of the track Who's Afraid of Little Old Me in this section. And again, not gonna get into the anthology tracks, but there's some wild shit in there too. Speaking overall on the standard edition, again, it's more self-indulgent. It's sonically samey, and a good bit of the songwriting isn't very engaging this time around. And compared to previous Swift albums, this is one of the lesser ones for me. I don't really recommend it.
What is happening right now? I don't know. I can't take this anymore. You spilled the tea.
Going into this award, I'm rooting for Charlie XCX. They're gonna give it to Taylor Swift though. You guys like my pink headphones? They're pink and they're headphones. I wish I could use them for gaming, but they have like a half a second to a second delay. So I can't really use them for gaming or like high intense gaming, multiplayer gaming, really any gaming, I don't know.
The Grammy goes to Cowboy Carter. 16.
I just clicked away. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. No way, dude. No way, dude. That's crazy. I for sure thought they were gonna give it to Taylor. But hey, Cowboy Carter is one of my favorites out of the bunch. So yeah. Jay-Z scared them. Jay-Z scared them, guys. The freaking CEO of the Academy did say something about having 66% new members recently. So maybe that had to play into it. I don't know. I'm just a messy little boy. What do I know? Admittedly, the Album of the Year award did go to someone who is already a prolific winner of Grammys. I personally would have been all cool if it went to Charlie as well. All right, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, I highly recommend watching my previous Album of the Year video where I talk about all the 66 other winners. And if you're not gonna go watch that video, then I wish your most cherished family member good health. Now you have to watch my video out of guilt. While playing Fortnite, there we were on tilted towers that I suddenly saw just at the 11th hour. But then out of nowhere I got overpowered by a toddler. I wanna kill her in gaming.